Thank you, Oval Toastmasters, for having me tonight. I want to talk to you about the most important topic, and that is who is the most important person in Toastmasters? Sometimes we have to look in the mirror and say, you are. Now, for some of us, that's easy, but for many of us, that's very difficult. It's very difficult because we don't think of ourselves as important. We think of ourselves in very humble perspective, and we say, I am not important. You are more important. And I understand that kind of respect, but importance can have a very different kind of meaning. I once attended a job interview. I'm sure most of us have. You had to go get yourself a job, unless you were one of those brilliant entrepreneurs, in which case you didn't necessarily have a job. You were already the boss. But most of us have had to go for a job interview. I was interviewing to be an assistant principal. What I didn't know is that it was going to be a panel. So at this job interview, there was a principal, my future boss, another assistant principal, two teachers, students, and a parent. Wow. And here's the thing, each of them had different kinds of questions asking about student life, or how do I talk with parents, or what do we do in discipline. But here was the toughest question. They asked me, who's the most important person on campus? Now, if it was just the principal asking me, or head of HR, then it's easy. Well, the most important person is the student. That's the politically correct answer, yes? The student is the most important person, Murai, right? But then if I say that, then the teacher looks at me like, oh, so you're not going to protect teachers. Oh, that's a problem. Oh, boy. And if I say, oh, the teacher's the most important, then the parents get angry. And then the assistant principal says, your coworker should be the most important person. So who's the most important person? And your mind races. And this was before I was really good at table topics. So what are you supposed to do, table topics master? And in a stroke of luck, in a stroke of godsend lightning, I said, the most important person on campus is the person that I'm talking to in that moment. Because if that person that I'm talking to, Paul, yeah, if that person that I'm talking to does not think that I am respecting them in that moment, then I've lost all respect. All is lost. If that student stops me in the middle of the hallway and says, Mr. G, I have a injured finger and my finger really hurts, or I didn't get my homework done and now the teacher's yelling at me. If I don't treat that person with utmost respect in that moment, no matter what else is going on, then that person is not going to see me as somebody who can solve their problem. And once I have not become somebody who can solve their problem, then they're not going to respect me. So the person that I'm talking to in that moment is the most important person on that campus. And you go through the day speaking to hundreds, having hundreds of dialogues with students, with teachers, with parents, with community members, and each of those interactions is critical in that person's life. They may not be critical as I see it, but in that person's life, it is critical. And that is why I say that in Toastmasters, you, Messiah, are the most important person. Whether you are an officer or a role taker or a mentor, you are the most important person in somebody's world. Imagine you are a speaker at a club meeting. Well, what happens if you bail at the last minute? Oh, I'm sorry, Lily. I'm sorry, Lily-san. I cannot do the speech tonight. Wah! Now what am I supposed to do, right, Robin? Oh, I'm sorry, Bunzo. I cannot evaluate tonight. Oh, now we have to scramble. Now we have to find somebody. Yes? In that moment, you're critical to how this works. Not only that, but as an evaluator, when you give your evaluation of someone's speech, their hope and dreams of getting better, their engagement is going to depend on your evaluation, Takehito. How you support them is dependent on how you make them feel in their eyes. That's how they interpret how you are being supported. Think about our officers. Do we really support our officers the way that we need to support them? Because if we don't have officers moving forward, well, you understand this, Paul. If we don't have officers saying, I'll be an officer, I volunteer to bear the weight, to lead, to open myself up to criticism, if we don't have officers, then the clubs don't have enough people to support. But here's the one role that I think is overlooked. That is the mentor. That is the mentor, Kumiko. That we have to develop our mentors so that when they take someone by the hand, somebody new to Toastmasters, and say, I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to be here for you. You have to understand how important you are in their eyes, just like a parent is important to a child. So who is the most important person in Toastmasters? You are. The future of your club, the future of this organization that we all love is dependent on you. And I have faith in you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.